Welcome back to the House of Legends, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, and in today's episode, we have a beautiful guest, beautiful guest, and we were laughing about the contrast about our
Outfit.
our outfit right here. If you see this via YouTube, you can tell. If you're just listening to us, just like I wanted to mention right here, Roxy, she's now in the house. She's a powerful leader here. I want to mention that first.
Mm.
She's a figure business mentor. She's also founder of our nation. She is a public speaker. She has also a book. She's
Mm.
has a podcast, and she's a model as well as me. And that it was like when I was reading that, I was like, that is really impressive. Before you introduce yourself, Roxy, I do this time, but not that often. Only when I feel called, and before or podcast, I felt called to grab one book. I do have some books right here, and
Okay.
and is this book is asked and it's been given,
I love it. Yes.
and I just asked what I need to listen right now. What is this is going to be about? Like, and the first thing, and this is the page. I just have it here. It says, I want to make more money. I want to feel excited about what I'm doing. I want to enjoy the people I work with, and I want to feel a stronger sense of purpose. And I was just like, what is this? And I think this has everything to do with what you do, because
Yes.
you are helping leaders to be in purpose and also to have the resources to see
Yeah.
more in a different way.
Yeah.
With that being said, if you can introduce yourself, Roxy, let us know who you are and what got you here.
I love it. And before introducing myself, I just want to say something.
Yeah.
It's so funny you read that because 2 minutes before jumping in here, I was with my CVO and I was talking about how much, and maybe I'm going to get emotional. So, but I said one of my greatest like goal so far, like my one of the purpose that I hold for myself, like really a personal goal that I have for the next 5 years, is inside the organization of our nation, creating more millionaires that anyone has ever created. I said I have I have a minimum of like 10% that I want to literally become millionaires by working with us and partnering with us and collaborating with us. Like I don't want to just help the people or client. I want my organization to win with me. I don't want to be the only one at the top. And then you read that book, which, by the way, my CVO is going to listen to you and to this interview, and she's going to laugh because Ask and It's Given, she's always opening that book every day. And it was so funny. And you read a page about money, and it really is. And so to transition into presenting myself,
Yeah.
my purpose has evolved with the evolution of my own consciousness. At the beginning, it was like helping people get more money, helping people change their life. It was really like, I don't want to say superficial because it's not superficial. It's beautiful. But for me, it became superficial as my consciousness grew, my state of mind grew about the understanding of what I was doing. But at first, it was more like my purpose is to change my life. And then
Yeah.
it was to change people's life, and then it was to change the world, and then it became, but what is the change I want to make? And our nation really is about creating sovereign human being, really is about, like, sovereignty is really important for me, and it's really different than freedom because it really is about to be free in every area of your life. You're not controlled by anything. You're not controlled by your own demons, by your own self, by your own mind, by your own environment, by your own culture, by your own past, by the government. It's like really being free,
I
like
know.
in all areas, in all dimension. Doesn't make sense. And I know it feels really weird to say this like this, but this is not like, this is why it's called a nation. It's like, I want to decentralize power around the world. I really want to rise power in the end of people, with our children, with what is happening. And it's really something like, there's a part of me that is more of an activist. So who I am is really different than who I was before. So I've become someone right now, yes, 8-figure business owner. Yes, we have multiple division, but honestly, I think for the thought, like the conversation I want to have, how I want to present myself today is more like a woman who's really eager to change the world with other legends and other change makers, like pillar in the world that really want to do purposely driven contribution. And it's not just about the money. Money is important because it's the root of resources. We need it, you know?
Yeah.
But this is why I'm so obsessed with helping people become sovereign financially, because you need it. You need money if you want to have power. Like it really is important.
Yeah.
So it really is about empowering people and change maker and leaders of change to get back into their own power and get back into their own self and their own uniqueness and their own power is really the right word for me. And I think a legend is someone that somehow wants to make history. It's someone I want to have an impact. And there's a quote that was said by I don't know who said that, but he said there's two kind of people. There's the people that we remember the name, and then the rest is just a numbers when you look at history.
Oh
Oops.
God.
Doesn't make sense. And I
Right.
said, that's so fucking true. When you look at war, you don't remember the soldier. These are numbers. They are
Yeah.
important, but there are the people that remember their name. And I'm want to build one of the greatest alliance in the world with legends like you, people that really want to change the world and have a real impact, because we know that we need to train, we need to change, and we need to transform, and we need to commune together so we can have a world that is different, first of all, but also people that want to make history,
Yeah.
because it's not just about like changing for changing. We don't want to be in numbers. We really want to make history. We want the world to remember, not just us personally, like for my ego, but like really saying like there was a moment in life where these people existed and humanity never be like humanity changed. Does it make sense?
A lot. Yes. You're speaking to my soul. I'm just like, I'm listening to you. That's like direct to my soul.
Mm,
One of the things that you mentioned, and thank you for bringing this high level conversation where, like, literally, where, like you said, we can have the titles, we can have the numbers, all those things, and that is amazing and
yeah.
that is valid. But I love the fact that you mentioned that with the time you've been evolving. Like, one of the things that I want to mention real quick here, I'm one of the kind of the persons that I'm always evolving. I mean, I can be 6 months in one thing and the next 6 months in another thing. And people sometimes don't, I used to feel like I'm changing a lot. People are not going to trust me. I'm changing a lot. But when I decide to honor that, and when I decide to, like you said, the more than your consciousness is increasing, your taste change, your mission, your things that you want to do change, right? So that
Yeah.
things that I love about you. You have this boldness, like energy that's like, this is the thing for this. Next year, we're gonna go for other things. So I love that energy attract me a lot. Like you're not fear to changing. And that is one of the things that many women, and let me tell you, having conversations with clients and also with people on the podcast, like they're like, but I'm already known for these things. Like, who cares? Like if your
Yeah.
heart is no longer there, move, you know?
We are. And it really is interesting you're talking about that, because like you said something that was interesting. You said sometime like I feel like people cannot trust me because I change, but it just show how much the collective is terrified by the abundance of the world, because true life is change.
Yeah.
Something that is not moving and evolving is dying. There's no stagnation in life. It doesn't exist. That's the law of physical and physicality. So you're either growing or dying. Does it
Yeah.
make sense? So people that are terrified to change, can you believe we live in a world right now that we feel bad to actually be connected to the abundance of life, which is growing?
Yeah.
We are not terrified to say yes to life growing inside of us. So that's why I'm so eager, because you know how many times I think I even had a TikTok that blew or something where I was crying, and it was like an interview, like a behind the scene that I published about a real conversation that I had with my CVO. And I said, because I was in a conversation, it's just like something is bugging you, where we're talking about big things and like change and the movement. Just like something is not right in your energy. What is bugging you right now? And I just started crying, and I was literally saying word to word, I'm not even killing you. I'm so ashamed. I changed so fast. People won't trust me anymore.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, but you've got it the wrong way. People trust you now because you're not afraid to change.
What oh God. I didn't know about that reel. That I do have the chills right now. Because sometimes we feel that we are the only ones that we feel that. And we are, like you said, like we want to move, but it's like, but and it's we understand this in the conscious, right? That we are here to change and all that. But when it comes time to act, it's like, but people know me for this, and they're not gonna trust me, or like. And I used to think that I was the only one with that thought. Like I've been changing my whole life, right? But it's just like you're mentioning this is like, it got me the chills. Let me tell you, I'm in Texas, so here is pretty hot. Like I'm telling you.
I love it. And yeah, I'm in Florida and I have having goosebumps since the beginning. But I'm telling you, this is why, like I call this, you call them legends. But legends are what? Are people that have an impact on humanity. And the only people that have an impact is people that create change.
Yeah,
That's why you call them legends. I call them change maker, but we're talking about the same people.
yeah,
It's people that are courageous enough to disrupt the norm. It really is. That's what it is about. And to disrupt means to change what is normal, to change what is the status quo, to change what is considered normal. And we're like, not for me. Sorry, let's go there. This is considered normal. In my world, it isn't. Let's move, let's rise, let's set up new standards. So this is why the very first thing you're ashamed of and you think people won't trust you is actually what people would trust you for, because you're not afraid to change. And people are looking for courage all over the world.
that's so true. Yeah. I would love to go a little bit deeper here because
Okay.
sometimes, like I mentioned to you before, we see this courageous Roxy, like
Yeah.
when this started, like you were always like this with this
I
passion,
do.
right?
Honestly,
Yeah,
it's not, and there's two things that is really important in here. I
yeah,
think we're giving natural gift that we're meant to understand and reverse engineer so we can help people build these skills that are actually natural for us. And there are
mhm,
things that are not natural that we're here to learn from other people. So sometimes I feel guilty for so many things that are natural for me because I didn't have to learn to be courageous. It was really given by God to me. And yet I felt guilty because it
mhm.
was like, I didn't have to work hard for my courage. I just am, you know? But on the other side, one of my biggest shadow are relationships. It really is. And that could be another part of the conversation and something that I've learned to build the skills and capacity to be in relationship because I've been so afraid to be abused and betrayed by people that I've learned to be a loner and to be really in isolation all my life just to protect myself. But that's another thing. But to go back to courage, I've always been courageous. It has never been, I think honestly, and I'm gonna really speak from my own belief system, but when I talk about God, it could be anything for people, but my God is my God. But maybe people it's the universe or whatever it is that
Or,
you
yeah,
believe in,
God,
obviously.
God.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, I was always courageous because there was no other way other than answering the calling. It's like it was bigger. It was always bigger than myself. When it was like, okay, I always been like, there was no limit. And let's not forget that honestly, my parents did so many things that they were not good with money. They were not good with financial intelligence and things like this. But there's one thing that they succeeded, and I think it's gonna be my legacy and their legacy through me. And it's how much they've never infuse me with limits. They've always welcomed my creativity and my courage and me defying the odds and defying the rules and asking questions. They were never like, like pushing me back. And you are a mother and I am too. And it has been a model because I have kids now. I have an 8 years old and a 4 years old. And I see them asking questions. It's so easy to say, like, stop asking questions. This is the rules. This is the thing. This is how it works. But my parents were really not like this. My parents was like, this is an interesting question. How can we find the answer? So I've never been ingrained with limits. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So it has helped
I,
me a lot. My
I love
parents was not putting limits on me. It was like, you want that? How can you achieve it? Not like you can't, you're too small. I
or
wasn't.
you, like, right?
How can you achieve it? Rox, we don't have the money. Okay. But if you want it, how can you find the money? Well, I can do fundings or it was like, we don't have the resource, but if you want it, find a plan. We can help you find a plan. We can help you brainstorm. I was like, It was like a study sport program where you just study in the morning and you go to sport in the afternoon. And where I was coming from, I was in a little city, in a little town. So there was no program like this, like there's more cow than fucking people in that town. There's no program about sports. But in a 1 hour and a half drive away, there was a program there that I really wanted to go. And I was not admissible because I was not in the right county. Does it
Oh,
make sense?
yeah.
And I said, but how can I make it work? I swear I was 8 years old. I wrote a big letter to the administration of the program saying that I really wanted, I was the best person for it. I made my case. I wanted to go and dance. I was obsessed with dance. I wanted to be a dancer and I became a great dancer. Not anymore, but I was a great dancer back then. And I was reading like a long, long, long letter. And I had to walk to the station to make sure. I think it was a whole deal. And I was waiting for the letter. I waited for the letter for 2 months and I have goosebumps. And I received the letter and they said, but we don't have transportation for you. How can you do the 1 hour and a half drive? I said, let it to me. If you accept me, I'm going to find a way. So that was my first step. They accepted me to the school and they made a whole deal about it. And it was like, how can I get transport? And I don't know why the universe just God put me the right person in front of me saying that the county scholarship bus transport, whatever it is, was actually 15 minutes away from me where they were like the whole bus station started from 15 minutes away and they started their run at 5 a.m. to go to the 1 hour and just pick up the kids there. So I knock at the door at the transport commission and I said, can I come at 5 a.m. and just drive in your bus for 1 hour? They're like, you're going to do a 2 hour drive per day? Yeah, but you need to come back. I said, I'm going to find my way. They're like, okay. Every morning for 3 years at 5 a.m., I was waiting for my bus, making sure I got what I wanted. And I got to dance. But at 5 a.m., I needed to wake up and I came back home at 7 a.m. at 7 p.m., needed to eat, train, go back to sleep. I've always been like this.
Oh,
I wanted something. There was no way. And my parents has helped me really make it happen. There was never a no. It was find your way. Find a way. Does that
I
make sense?
yeah, a lot, yes. And I love the fact that you mentioned your parents, like
Yeah.
they're put that seed and that seed raw. And I think that is one of the most beautiful gifts that you have, like, because not many of us, like including myself, like so many, I grew up with so many limits, like, but I'm not blaming no one. I was like, there, that was the way that they were raised too, as well, right? My parents. But to see this, it's just like, wow, now I know, like you said, this is natural for me. Like this is not, you've been practicing your whole life for now, you the
I've
whole.
been trying. And my parents really knew. Like my mom said to me, I chose your name because I knew you would become someone. And I wanted to make sure it's a name we can remember.
Oh, by the way, I was reading about your name. Like, oh God, it was just like I didn't know about the meaning about the name, and I was just like
Yeah.
light,
She's
bright.
like, you were a star. I knew you would be remembered. I knew you would shine. And I wanted to give you a name that people can remember. I was
Mm,
like, wow. Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, parenting and motherhood, like I'm gonna get emotional, but if my own child can feel the way they can feel about me the way I feel about the love I have for my parents, I would really consider I have succeed as a mother. Really. The love that I have for my parents, the gratefulness that I have to really allow me to discover myself, really allow me to be courageous, really allow me to build my skills and my capacity to go for my dream from that young. I will be forever grateful. I am who I am because they bet on me. They believe in my potential when no one was believing in me. Like they didn't ingrain their fear or their limit and their things. They were just always like, you're special, just find a way. Like they were not trying to cuddle me. I got hurt so many times. I failed so many times, but my parents were always like, it's okay, we're gonna find a solution. So I have so much love for my own parents. And I'm telling you, if my own kids feel the way about me that I feel about my parents, I'm telling you, I'm dying so much in peace. Like that's my ultimate goal. I want the best for my kids, not for what I consider the best for them, but what they want for themselves and what really is. And my job is to guide them. It really is to guide them and to train them to be in leadership. So maybe my parents were not good with money because we lack money so much. We went to bankruptcy. Sometimes there were days where we were not eating. Like it really was rough financially. But at the same time, they gave me the biggest tool ever, which is leadership.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm building a nation now. And I really want people because I'm succeeding at life because my parents has gave me the tool to think by myself, to find solution, to lead myself, to fail, to not be afraid to fail. You know how many times I've knocked at doors and I've been receiving a no? Yeah. Like all these little things which just like train as a little mind who's creative, who has dream, you know? So yeah, that's how I am courageous.
Yeah. And while you were sharing, I was just like my heart right here in my chest. I was just feeling it because we're moms. Like I'm a
Yeah.
mom of three, you're a mom of two. Sometimes, and I used to do this. We focus on like the career or the business, you name it. And the way that you put it here, and you explain it in the first minutes of the podcast, that you're calling our nation is for you to thrive in every single area of your life. And now hearing you as a mom, like this is such just like a gift. Like even I feel the love right here. I feel like a child right here because you have so much love, and I felt I was able to feel it right here, and it's so beautiful to hear that. Like it's just so pure. Like
You.
yeah,
It is. And I think I was in a live, I think it was in French at that time. And I said, I consider myself privileged. God knew by giving me these parents that I will become who I am today. I think it was part of the plan. But I also think that I'm privileged to have felt that love where most child in the world never received it.
yeah,
But I also feel it's my duty to give it back. That's why I'm building what I'm building. That's also why people really feel the love from me because I really, really believe in people potential. Like you cannot say it's not possible. I've been wired to just be in a way of let's find a way. So
okay,
when people come to me with a dream, they will never feel from me like no. It will be like okay, let's make a plan. Let's strategize. And I think this is why people really feel good in my
energy.
energy is the potentiality of God. It's
Yeah.
like it's possible. Let's make a plan. You know
Mm.
what I mean? It's like I believe in you. I've been trusted by my parents with no, like it was just they purely believe in me. So who I am to judge people's potential. My job is to believe in them and make sure they believe in themselves. That's my duty. To
Mm.
share the love that God has for me, that my parents have for me, to the world, you know, somehow. So motherhood is everywhere for me, everywhere. And I'm saying creating codependency and all of this. Like there's a line to
Yeah,
be really clear with that because I don't want to create codependency. And that's another conversation. I've built community that are codepending on me, to be really honest. So it has been a learning and a journey for me. But my job is to be a leader, and you cannot be a leader if you don't have love.
that's true. If you can go a little bit deeper here, because the way that I see you, like I said, I was drawn to your energy. Like you, like
Thank you.
it's so peaceful. It feels safe. It feels
Mm.
warm, it feels nice. It feels loving, and I can go on and on. But it feels like that. Like, and I'm a woman. Like it feels so good to be in your
Thank you.
energy. And I would love to ask you. This is coming from a leadership perspective.
Yeah.
When you know that, let me tell you, you are a light for so many people. For you are the one that is like, let's make a plan, let's move, how can we do it, how
Yeah.
do you, and I'm not saying protecting, or how do you put boundaries when it comes
Mm.
to that? Because sometimes people like they see you know like how you how you approach that, the boundaries and the standards for you to get to serve the people that you meant to serve in a higher level, but also to say no without any yield, without any like things like that.
Yeah. Well, it really is important to understand. It all comes from the intentionality. There was a moment in my life where I wanted to save people, and this is where the boundaries get confused. So
Yeah.
I would sacrifice who I am to make sure someone gets something. And it creates this weird codependency on each other where we feed off each other in a really weird way. And I have created these kind of like, but I was new, like I was just so eager to serve and just give. So I didn't know, like like I said, it was really like who I was at that moment. So is it toxic or wrong? No, it wasn't. But do I know better now? Yes, I do, you know. So now with what I know is more like I really need to be aware with the intentionality into which I serve all the time.
Mm,
Like, am I doing this from a place of love? Am I doing this from a place of contribution and duty and service? Or I'm doing this because I think I have no choice? Or I'm doing this from a place of like, I cannot let that person go that way of like poor person or like pity or
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the intentionality of why I'm doing the things is so important. And people would be surprised if they had access to my mind, how many times a day I ask myself, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I choosing that? Why am I deciding this? Is it really aligned with my values? Is it really aligned with what I want to create? The number of times I'm asking why, people go crazy to hear me say these things out loud. But I think I have created a way. I think I am who I am today because I've allowed myself to ask these amount of questions and really be intentional. There's nothing I do that is more not strategic. But when I say strategic, it's not manipulative. It's really coming from a place of alignment and truth and making sure I am a vessel of God and not an extension of a wound. And it's
Mm.
really different.
Yeah, it is. And I love the way that you explain it because it's so easy to, and we all been there. Let me tell you that we want to rescue people and we want to
Yeah.
like this motherhood, like kind of toxic energy between like codependent and I'm in the pedestal and you're here. Like we all
Yeah.
been there. But it
Yeah.
was part of the learning, right? You know, like
Yeah.
the way that you explain it, like intention is key, being intentional. And I think as everything is a process,
Yeah.
it's process when in this process, and I don't know if you want to agree with me, is when you start understanding yourself and you mentioned something really amazing, asking yourself questions. Sometimes we don't want to ask ourselves questions, and when we ask the questions, we got the answer.
Yeah, you get the answer, and then you can stop yourself or refine or pivot or just go about it. But then you train yourself to feel so empowered by your decision and your movement because you know why. There's nothing like the power of why. Like
Yeah.
people like misunderstand how powerful you become when you know why you're moving. Does
Can
it
you
make sense?
that?
Yeah. So for example, I'm gonna give you an example. I was having like something happened in my business, something was happening, and it was like, okay, there's something to fix. But then it could go so many ways. First of all, it's like, okay, who did that mistake? Like, okay, and then I see the person who did the mistake. Why? Why did mistake happen? How am I responsible for that happening? This is also value number 9, leadership. What's my part in it? But that's another thing. But why am I doing this? Why is it important? Okay, so I need to have a talk with the person. Okay, why? Well, because we need to rectify and it never happens again. Okay, but why now? Is it the best moment? Why do I need? Am I in reaction right now? Is it the best time? Why do
Mhm.
I want to have the talk now? It's like all these little things like, why now? Why am I reacting? Why am I feeling like this? What is happening inside of me? These questions will make you so driven and empowered because you will have clarity and clarity and clarity. Everything you do, you're confident about why you're doing it. You're laser focused. So when you move from a place of why, no matter like you're ashamed of your past only if you don't understand why you did it.
Mm.
It's impossible for me now to be ashamed because I take every decision from a leadership point. I cannot be mad. I knew why. And it makes sense at that time. So I can never look back again and be ashamed or guilty or not strong about anything. No matter what I'm doing, I'm so intentional that I cannot blame myself for who I was. It made sense. The why was pure for who I was back then. So shame and guilt is really like, I won't say absent, but like it's really not present in my world because I'm so intentional. I'm intentional and I cannot be ashamed. That made sense back then. Now I know better. Of course, I won't do this again, but I'm in peace with every decision, every move, every action. Peace is like people think they want to be joyful. No, you want to be at peace
Yeah.
because peace is freedom. Joy comes and go. You cannot aim for joy. That's not joy you're looking for. What you're looking for is peace.
Yeah.
Because peace is freedom. You're in peace with who you are. You're in peace with your past. You're in peace with the choice you made. And I think people like underrate like the power of peace. I don't aim for joy. I'm really aiming for a peaceful life.
Yeah. And
I'm
this is so beautiful. And I think you mentioned really, really, really beautiful here, because sometimes we think like we want to experience joy, and like you said, joy comes and goes. But
yeah,
when you are at peace, you're no longer bringing the past. You understand that was back then, it is right
yeah,
now. And even if right now we're not 110% intentional or whatever, or something happens, you are able to move because you're at peace with
I'm
you.
at peace.
Yeah.
People think, and that's one thing that is, let's go back to courage.
Yeah.
Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is being in peace with the risk.
Oh God. Courage.
You want me to say it again?
Yes, please. It feels so, I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, the listeners are gonna enjoy this, but this
Thank
is just,
you.
you're like, it's like soul to soul. I feel like the soul sisterhood right here. It's just like every single word is just resonating with
Mm.
me, with the soul. Can you say it again? It feels so right.
Thank you, by the way. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Yes, I said courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is being in peace with the risk.
Mm.
It's not that there's no risk anymore. It's not that people wait for no risk to happen. It's impossible. Risks are everywhere. There's a risk to travel. There's a risk to take your car. There's always risk everywhere you go. But you're in peace to take your car and drive, knowing that there's a risk to get hurt by another car. But it's
And
the same thing for all your dream. You cannot wait for the fear to go. It will never let you in peace. So it would never let you off the track. Like you cannot get out of your own skin. We're built to be afraid. It's normal. This is how we stay alive.
yeah.
So there's a quote that I always say. It's like the path of courage is not to not be afraid. It's to learn to walk with the fear without choosing the fear. So how do you do that? How do you walk with the fear and you move forward? You choose the dream without choosing the fear, because the fear is going to stay with you. You cannot escape your own skin. It's really important that people do understand that. So
Mm.
how do you walk with the fear? You walk with the fear being in peace with the risk, saying, no matter if it happens, I will be okay. If it truly happens, I'm okay.
Uh,
That's what courage is about. If I get refused, I'm going to be okay. If I lose the money I invest, would I really be okay? Yes, I will. Okay, then I'm willing to go. So what I always say to people is not jump anyway. Jump when you are in peace with the risk. This is when you're really ready. So then if the risk happens and you're actually, the worst scenario is actually happening, which will happen in life, you're still in peace.
it's so beautiful. And more than beautiful, I think the listeners are gonna just like taking notes, like as well as me, like I'm telling you here, because it's so true. And just the way that you put it, Roxy, is so clear, so neat. So just like little shifts that are
Mm,
digestible and we can integrate right away. This is not
mm,
just only one of the things that I share as well in my own practice. Is like we can have all the knowledge, all the tools, but how we can integrate it right away. Like when you mentioned about the courage, about the fear, like now you
mm.
how can you integrate it right away in the decisions that you're making today? How do you you're moving intention with intention. If you're not, start now, you know?
Yes.
Yes, that's so, so beautiful. Roxy, I would love to, this conversation is just so good. Like I'm just telling you
I
that
love it too. I love having you. You're extraordinary. Thank you. Thank you for creating this space.
no, thank you for being here. I will love, and I know if I by this point I already know, the listeners already know, but this question is before we close up the our conversation, what is your superpower? Because one of the things that I've been acknowledging during the last years, sometimes we think we don't give ourselves enough credit because it comes from the ego, or I want from someone recognize me over there, or I can go on and on in telling you all the things that you're amazing, good at it. But I would love to know, what is Roxy's superpower?
I would say speed. And when
Mm,
I say that is my capacity to embody things. I've never seen someone like this. And I'm not saying from arrogant, but like I move fast because I integrate so fast. I integrate so fast. I really embody things in a way of like something is happening, cool, lesson learned, let's go. Like I don't need repeat. It doesn't take time for me to be honest with myself, to change, to unify. Like the equation of change, it's an equation. And because I feel my capacity to go through that equation so fast, so easily, that I move fast, 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 fast. I go really, really fast. And in my organization, people always say, Roxy, the alien, because I'm telling you, it's not even an Olympian thing. It's like it's divine speed. I don't know how to say that. I really work fast. I move fast. I change fast. I understand. So my speed is my superpower, but where that's the symptom of my speed, you know? That's a symptom of my superpower. Speed is a symptom. So what is a superpower? I think it will be courage, the courage to really be honest with myself. I
mm,
don't lie. I don't lie to myself, never. And because I don't lie to myself, I go so fast.
mm.
I don't wait on identity. I don't pretend. I don't try. Like, I'm just super honest. And
Beautiful.
it creates speed.
Yeah, you mentioned something really amazing, and speed, courage again. But you mentioned something that I'm just gonna keep and integrate right away on my psyche. You said, "I don't need repeat.
I don't.
I don't." And sometimes we see the same thing, and for one reason or another, we experience the same things. Like when we ask ourselves why, right? But just like you say, this is a
I
decision.
don't.
I don't need repeat. So that is so powerful. Like,
I don't. And this is where people are like, because
God.
like, okay, it's like one thing you're telling me one time, you never have to tell me again. It's
Mm,
done. It's done. I've integrated. It landed. Next. But when you work like this, you go really fast.
mm. I can see. I can feel it right here. Oh God, Roxy, it was really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
if you can share real quick where we can find you. I'm gonna put, of course, you in a board or below this video and also on the podcast, but
Yeah.
where we can find you, what are the ways that we can work with you or with the organization?
Well, you can come to my Instagram, my YouTube channel, TikTok right now, the other one in English that I'm developing. We're opening a big R media channel, so it's gonna be fun and nice and like a lot of change makers. You're gonna be invited. And yeah, it's the beginning of the division of the R media. So by the time this is published, I guess it's gonna be launched. If not, then just follow me on Instagram and be there for when the lunch is made. But right now, Instagram is the best place to see the behind the scene of building our nation, and everyone is welcome to join. Everyone is really welcome, no matter who you are, where you are. If you have a desire to contribute to something big, everyone, no matter how we can collab or co-create, like this is my dream, and I hope we're gonna share it together.
Mm, thank you so much, Roxy, again.
Thank you.
The conversation was such a gift, not only for the
Thank you.
listeners, but for my soul. I'm telling you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And we'll see you in the next week. Thank you.